The wind howled like a warning, tearing at my hair as I stood on the cliff's edge, my 6-year-old son, Noah's hand trembling in mine. Below, the valley gaped, a dark maw ready to swallow us. My family, my parents, my sister, closed in, their faces masks of cold intent. "Clara, look over there!" my sister Rachel hissed, her grip on my arm a vice, her eyes glinting with malice. My father lifted Noah, his small body dangling over the void, and my scream was lost in the gale. "Mom!" Noah cried, and in that moment, I knew. They meant to kill us. Time slowed, my heart pounding a desperate rhythm, as their hands shoved us into the abyss. How had it come to this? How had love turned to betrayal? As we fell, I curled around Noah, shielding him, and swore we'd survive, if only to see their faces when we rose again. If you love stories of resilience, reclaiming justice with style, and rediscovering your worth, hit that subscribe button for Graceful Revenge now. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Let's dive into the power of elegant revenge and life's deepest lessons together. Some betrayals are sharper than the rocks that tear flesh, their pain echoing through years like a mountain's shadow. A year ago, I stood on that cliff in the Blue Ridge Mountains, my world shattering as my family, those I'd trusted most, tried to erase me and my son from existence. I'd believed we were there to heal, to stitch together the fraying bonds of kinship. My name is Clara Evans, and that day, their treachery carved a wound that would redefine my life, forging a strength I never knew I carried. The cracks had appeared months earlier, in the quiet cadence of our Asheville life. I was a nurse at Mission Hospital, my days a blur of patient charts and Noah's bright laughter. Noah, my 6-year-old, filled our small home with crayon drawings, vivid sketches of our family, pinned to the fridge like talismans. My husband, Daniel, a construction foreman, had grown distant, his late nights and weekend absences blamed on endless projects. My parents, Walter and Evelyn Hayes, lived across town, their retired days once spent showering Noah with love, or so I'd thought. My sister, Rachel, a real estate agent in Charlotte, swept into our monthly family dinners with tales of her glamorous deals, her eyes lingering on Daniel in ways that pricked my unease. I'd dismissed it, blaming exhaustion, but the signs were there, woven into their silences, their glances. It began subtly, like a frost creeping over spring blooms. Noah's drawings went unnoticed by Daniel. His, "Look, Mom, I drew us," met with curt nods. Rachel's visits grew frequent, her questions about my inheritance, a villa in the mountains, and a $2 million trust fund from our grandparents, oddly pointed. "Have you thought about selling the villa?" she'd ask, her tone too casual. My parents, once warm, turned sharp, their affection for Noah replaced by cold glances. I'd catch Evelyn watching him with a frown, Walter's stories trailing off when Noah entered the room. The air felt heavy, like a storm brewing, but I couldn't name the threat. One evening, as Noah slept, I found Daniel texting late, his screen angled away. "Work," he muttered, but his eyes wouldn't meet mine. Rachel's next dinner brought more questions about the trust fund, her smile tight. "It's a lot of money, Clara. You sure you're managing it?" I brushed it off, but unease gnawed at me, a whisper of something wrong. My parents' calls grew rare, their invitations to Noah's school events ignored. I clung to routine, hospital shifts, Noah's bedtime stories, hoping to outrun the growing dread. Then came Walter's call, his voice unnaturally bright. "Clara, let's go hiking this Saturday. The whole family, Rachel too. Noah will love it." I hesitated, Daniel's distance a weight, but Noah's excitement sealed it. "Can we find cool rocks, Mom?" he asked, his eyes sparkling. I agreed, hoping the mountains would mend us. Daniel, surprisingly, said he'd come, a flicker of warmth in his voice. But the day before, he called, his tone flat. "Work emergency, you go without me." Disappointment stung, but I focused on Noah, packing his lunch, a first aid kit, my nurse's instinct ever vigilant. The morning of the hike, the sky was a vivid blue, the air crisp with the scent of pine. Noah bounded downstairs, his jacket zipped, a magnifying glass clutched for bug hunting. "Ready, Mom," he grinned, and I vowed to make the day his. My parents' SUV pulled up, Walter at the wheel, Evelyn beside him, Rachel in the back, her designer hiking boots gleaming. "Perfect day for a hike," Walter said, his cheer forced, as Noah and I climbed in. Rachel's eyes flicked to her phone, her silence heavy, and I felt a prickle of unease. "Why couldn't Daniel make it?" Rachel asked, her voice edged. I deflected, but Evelyn's words, "Today's special," landed like stones, her smile not reaching her eyes. Noah chattered about trees, oblivious, while Walter answered with exaggerated enthusiasm, glancing at Evelyn in the rearview mirror. The road climbed into the mountains, veering onto a narrow, unpaved path I didn't know. "Where are we going, Dad?" I asked, my stomach tightening. "A hidden gem," Walter replied, too smoothly. "The view's worth it." The car stopped at a deserted clearing, the silence oppressive. My parents and Rachel carried light packs, barely enough for a hike, and I questioned the trail's safety. "It's fine, Clara," Evelyn said, her tone oddly soothing. "Trust us." Noah darted to a tree, examining a stone, while Rachel's phone buzzed incessantly. "Who are you texting?" I pressed, and she flinched, muttering about the time. The trail grew steep, my parents' casual attire jarring against the rugged path. "Why so lightly dressed?" I asked, but Evelyn waved me off. "It's a special day." The phrase clawed at me, their glances. Walter to Evelyn, Evelyn to Rachel, setting my nerves alight. I kept Noah close, his hand warm in mine, his questions about rocks a tether to normalcy. The path opened to a cliff, a deep valley yawning below, a distant lake shimmering. The wind howled, and I gripped Noah tighter, my fear of heights locking my knees. "Stay back, Noah," I said, my voice sharp. Walter placed a hand on Noah's shoulder, guiding him toward the edge. "Just showing him the view," he said, but his eyes were cold, unyielding. "Dad, stop!" I shouted, pulling Noah to me. Rachel stepped closer, her face a mask, and Evelyn moved behind Walter, their movements synchronized, predatory. A silence fell, the wind's wail the only sound. My heart pounded as I realized we were surrounded. Rachel's hand clamped my arm, her grip bruising. "Clara, look over there," she said, her voice a mockery of calm, her eyes gleaming with malice. "Let Noah go," I cried, reaching for him. Walter lifted Noah, his small body dangling over the void, and Noah's yelp, "Mom!" tore through me. Evelyn's voice was soft, chilling. "Sometimes, Clara, sacrifices are needed for the family." She shoved me toward the cliff, and as I stumbled, Walter swung Noah toward the edge. My scream was swallowed by the wind. Rachel pushed me hard, and we fell. Noah clutched in my arms, the world a blur of terror. The descent was agony, branches and rocks battering us. I curled around Noah, shielding him, pain exploding through my back, legs, and arms. Each impact threatened to rip him from me, but I held tight, his name a prayer on my lips. We hit the ground with a bone-jarring thud, my vision flickering, pain a white-hot scream. Noah's trembling breath beneath me kept me conscious. "Noah, are you okay?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. "I'm okay, Mom," he murmured, shaking but whole. Are you? My right leg and left arm were useless, likely broken, blood seeping from cuts, but Noah, miraculously, had only scratches. Voices drifted from above, my family peering down, their silhouettes black against the twilight. Are they moving? Evelyn asked, her tone detached. No, Walter replied, his voice calm, mechanical. We should check. We can't go down, Rachel snapped, urgency in her tone. It's too risky. They're gone. I froze, hugging Noah tighter, and his whisper stopped my heart. Mom, don't move yet. His 6-year-old wisdom stunned me, and we lay still, playing dead, dirt and blood caking our skin. Rachel's voice carried a chilling relief. It's done. Daniel and I are free now. The villa, the trust fund, it's ours. We never needed them. The truth crashed over me like a tidal wave. Daniel and Rachel, lovers, plotting to kill us for my $2 million inheritance. The villa, a glittering prize. My parents, complicit for a $400,000 cut, had traded our lives for greed. Anger, fear, and betrayal surged, but survival was my anchor. We waited, motionless, until their footsteps faded, the mountain silence swallowing them. As dusk deepened, I spoke softly, my voice hoarse. Noah, we need to move. My body was a map of pain, but Noah's small hand steadied me, his courage a beacon. He scouted safer paths, his tiny frame darting ahead, gathering branches for a crude crutch. Over here, Mom, it's flat, he said, leading me through the forest, his voice steady despite exhaustion. Hours passed, the moonlight casting eerie shadows, pain gnawing at every step. Noah's resolve kept me moving, his bravery beyond his years. You're strong, Mom, he said, puffing out his chest, and I choked back tears, his faith a lifeline. We rested under a towering pine, Noah nestled against me, his warmth a shield against the cold. Will Dad come back? He asked, his voice small, trembling. I faltered, the monstrous truth too heavy for his young heart. Dad can't live with us anymore, I said gently, stroking his hair, but I'll always protect you. He nodded, snuggling closer, and whispered, Aunt Rachel was talking to Dad. She said bad things about us. My heart shattered for the burden he carried, but his courage fueled mine. We're alive, Noah, I said firmly, my voice a vow. We'll always be together. He'd overheard Rachel and Daniel's calls, his sharp mind piecing together their plot, and I marveled at his strength, even as grief clawed at me. You're my hero, I whispered, and he smiled, faint but real. By dawn, we reached a main trail, our battered forms catching the eye of a hiking couple, their faces paling at our state. My God, are you okay? The man gasped, rushing over. His wife called for help, wrapping us in blankets, sharing water and granola bars until an ambulance screeched to a halt. What happened? The woman asked, but I shook my head, too raw to speak. The police will know soon, I murmured, clutching Noah. At the hospital, doctors confirmed the damage. Multiple fractures in my right leg and left arm, internal bruising, cuts requiring stitches. But I'd live. Noah, cushioned by my body, had only minor scrapes, a miracle that brought tears to my eyes. You were his shield, a doctor said, ruffling Noah's hair. As I lay in recovery, pain dulled by medication, Detective Laura Bennett knocked, her badge glinting, her tone gentle but firm. Mrs. Evans, can you tell me what happened on that mountain? I recounted everything, the hike's strange prelude, their coordinated movements, the push, Rachel's chilling words about the villa and trust fund. My voice trembled, but I held Laura's gaze, each word a step toward justice. Noah, speaking to a child psychologist, confirmed it, his small voice steady as he recalled Rachel's phone calls with Daniel. "They wanted us gone," he said, and Laura's pen paused, her face tightening. Laura's investigation moved like lightning. Within days, Daniel, Rachel, Walter, and Evelyn were arrested, their lies unraveling in interrogation rooms. Daniel and Rachel, lovers for 2 years, had orchestrated the plan to kill us, coveting my inheritance, the villa and $2 million trust fund. My parents, swayed by a promised $400,000, had betrayed their own blood. The truth was a knife, but it freed me, sharpening my resolve to protect Noah. The judicial hearing in Asheville was a crucible, my crutches a testament to survival as I faced them across the courtroom. Daniel's eyes avoided mine, Rachel's face a mask of defiance, my parents' expressions hollow. I stood at the witness stand, my voice unwavering despite the pain radiating from my fractures. "They tried to take our lives," I said, Noah's hand in mine. But love, my love for my son, was stronger than their greed. We survived, not because of them, but despite them. Noah, brave beyond his years, testified, his words simple but devastating. "Grandpa pushed us. Mom saved me. Dad and Aunt Rachel are bad." The courtroom stilled, the weight of his truth silencing whispers. Daniel and Rachel bowed their heads, my parents' faces pale, their defiance crumbling. The judge's gavel fell, sentencing Daniel and Rachel to 25 years for attempted murder, Walter and Evelyn to 15 years for conspiracy. As I left, their pleas, muffled apologies, desperate excuses, faded behind me, irrelevant against the life Noah and I would build. 3 months later, we left Asheville's ghosts behind, moving to Crested Butte, Colorado, to a cozy guest house owned by Ellen Brooks, sister of my hospital colleague Sarah Mitchell. Sarah, a survivor of domestic violence, had become my anchor, her empathy a lifeline during recovery. She'd sat with me through sleepless nights, her stories of resilience mirroring my own. "You and Noah are unstoppable," she'd said, her voice fierce, and I clung to that truth. In Crested Butte, I found work at a community clinic, my nursing skills a bridge to purpose. Noah enrolled in a local school, his laughter returning as he made friends. Jason, Mia, kids who saw his light, not his scars. We attended therapy, facing the nightmares that woke us, the echoes of that cliff. "I dream of falling," Noah admitted once, his voice small, and I held him, promising we'd climb every fear together. The mountains of Colorado, softer than Asheville's jagged peaks, became our refuge. Ellen's guest house, with its wooden beams and wildflower garden, felt like home, her warmth enveloping us. "You're family now," she said one evening, serving homemade pie. And I smiled, the word no longer a blade. Sarah visited often, her laughter filling our quiet moments, her strength a mirror to mine. Michael Turner, Noah's principal, became a steady presence, stopping by the clinic to share updates. "Noah's a leader," he said, his eyes kind. "He's teaching us all what courage looks like." Over months, Michael's visits grew personal, his quiet support, bringing books for Noah, sharing coffee with me, easing the walls around my heart. I wasn't ready for love, but his friendship was a seed planted in trust. On Noah's 8th birthday, we threw a party, the guest house alive with Ellen's baking, Sarah's stories, Michael's guitar, and Noah's friends chasing balloons. Noah, grinning ear to ear, blew out his candles, his wish a secret he whispered to me later. "I want us to always be happy, Mom." I hugged him, tears prickling, knowing we were closer to that wish than ever. Michael stood beside me, watching Noah play. "You've shown me what family means," he said softly. "It's not blood, it's choice, love, respect." I looked at Noah, his laughter brighter than the mountain sunset, and nodded. "We learned that the hard way," I said, my voice steady. "But we're living proof it's true." From that cliff's edge, where betrayal had sought to end us, Noah and I had climbed to a new life, our bond forged in fire. My family's faces had fallen, not at a villa or wealth, but at our survival, our rise, a mother's love, a boy's courage, unyielding against their malice. We'd built a family not of blood, but of those who saw us, held us, chose us, and in Crested Butte's embrace, we were whole. See you in the graceful revenge.